Hey everyone, welcome to your Week 30 Modern World launch. We are approaching the fourth quarter of the school year, and you only have one more project left, and that's going to be on the topic of World War I. So we are getting into that. If you're watching and you are slightly behind, please try to make a valiant effort to just work with us. Start up with the World War I project and work with me each week. But also give yourself time knowing that you have to go back and redo all of the old past due assignments. But try to complete these as they're due. The end of the year is approaching. May 25th is the deadline. We were told that there will be no extensions. So if you were in the program last year, I think some of you had a majority of the summer to work on things, and that's not going to be the case this year. So make sure you are planning accordingly. There's 10 weeks left, and May 25th is it. So some of you are seeing the finish line and you feel pretty confident that the end is approaching. You've stayed on pace all year, but most of you are in the same boat, and your approach to the finish line probably looks something more similar to the next slide.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked.
Okay, so it's okay. Most of you have had a struggle this year and not a clean shot to the finish line. So it's been a struggle. It doesn't matter how ugly your year was. There's 10 weeks left and you can still do this thing. You just have to make some changes for the last quarter of the year and really finish strong. So I like this one because on the left, what people think success looks like is a straight line to the top, but what success really looks like is a whole bunch of mess and trial and error in between. So I think that pretty much relates to how everybody feels in the summit. You experience some setbacks and failures and still keep going. So it's very messy, but you guys will get done just with some hard work. Okay, the final project of the year is called Art as Expression, and it's going to be on the topic of World War I, but looking at art as an expression. So the essential questions for the project are: what are the effects of war? How can art show the perspective of those responding to emotional and traumatic life experiences? And how can art reflect the context of a historical event or time period? So you're going to be looking at some art from that World War I era and trying to answer those questions, keeping those in mind as you work through this. The project description: after learning about World War I, you will look at various art pieces created during that time period. You're then going to create a mini art exhibit, and then you'll record yourself presenting and explaining the art pieces that you selected. Checkpoint 1, if you look, it's on the start of World War I. If you look into checkpoint 1, you'll see you're answering the historical question: how did individuals respond to the start of World War I? So then you would be writing your paragraph there. You do want to make sure that you're not just typing random information, you're using the resources available. So that's what this second one over here on the right side, under the checkpoint, if you click in, you'll see your resources. Make sure you click in and actually open up the start of World War I documents, because that is actually how you're going to be able to formulate your answer to that question. When you are finished and you write your paragraph, you're not done. You do want to go down to the rubric, and you want to read this rubric, because for this checkpoint, we're focusing on your ability to do an informational thesis. So what you want to do is look on the rubric and rate yourself. Do you think you deserve a 4, 5, or 6 for this skill? And then on the justification part, that's on the second page. If you just scroll down a little bit, you just need to write in here why you think you are deserving of that 4, 5, or 6. Just a little bit, the first focus area that you're going to get to is the main causes of World War I. MAIN is an acronym to help you guys, a little mnemonic device to be able to remember some of the more important causes of World War I. So that would be militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism. And we're just going to go into each one in a little more detail. So militarism is glorifying military power, keeping an active army ready for battle even during times of peace, and building up military arms. So an arms race whenever it's supposed to be a peaceful time. So everybody was strengthening their military, kind of building some tension, just to try to be the best military there was, even in time of peace. It just created a stress and a tension between the countries. Alliances are a close association of nations that is formed to support the interests of those nations. So it's basically just an agreement between a series of countries to support your similar interests. The main ones that you're going to want to know that will be on all of the assessment tests. The Allied powers, also known as the Triple Entente, was Russia, England, and France. If you hear them talking about Great Britain instead of England, those are the same thing. So Russia, England, and France made up the Triple Entente, and then they were against the Triple Alliance of Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy. Then later on, the Ottoman Empire gets involved, and that became known as the Central Powers. So you do want to know which countries fell under which alliance. Imperialism was another major cause of World War I. Imperialism is the control or domination of one country over another. Basically, European nations were competing with each other for land around the world, especially in Africa. So this is a map of Africa, and you can see that all of the European countries went over to Africa and just started claiming it as their own. So a lot of the French and British had their stakes to the land in Africa. So they just wanted to prove to be the bigger and the better country. So they tried to just take over as much of the world as they possibly could. And then there's also nationalism, which is deep devotion to one's nation or national pride. And then there's also ultra-nationalism, which is intense national pride. So I picked this thing here. Nationalism is not patriotism. Patriotism, you're proud to be an American, and that's great. But then there's an extreme to everything. So I guess you could call it extreme patriotism. Nationalism kind of just takes it to a whole other level where you just feel you are so much better than everybody because you're from the country that you are. The biggest example of this is probably Germany's Nazi Party, they were very, very much nationalists, and that they believed that the Aryan race was the superior race, and they did whatever they had to do to prove that. So it's not patriotism, but you could say it's very, very extreme patriotism. All right, so for week 30, which runs March 21st to March 27th, you should work on mastering the main causes of World War I focus area. And if you followed along with any of those and we went over the causes, that's a bulk of the questions, is just knowing what main stands for and what the definitions of those are, and also knowing the countries that are involved in the alliances. So that'll be a bulk of the test that you take. And then you should also work to submit checkpoint 1 of the Art as Expression project. We are excited to announce that we're going to have a competition. It's called Focus on the Finish, and it's going to be a competition between all of the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders in the Summit Learning Platform. It's going to run from today, March 19th, through Friday, April 27th, so it's about a 6-week run. The winner will be the grade with the highest total of points by April 27th. What you can get points for is by completing focus areas. So you can get 1 point for every focus area that you complete from today on. And then also you can get 2 additional points for any projects that are turned green. So make sure that if you're somebody who does not have very many focus areas left, or you've done all of them, I do suggest you could reach out to a classmate, see how you can help them. I definitely stick within your grade because you would like your grade to win, correct? So message somebody in your grade and see if you can help them out with their focus areas, because sometimes getting that help from a peer is really necessary. So participating members of the winning team will receive a free Sheets item coupon. I value that at approximately $15. So if you I always get a salad, and then you can get double meat, double cheese, whatever you want, no exclusions. So only participating members. So if you are somebody who does not work in the next 6 weeks, even if your team won, you will not get the prize. So, and also we don't want to exclude everybody that did try. So even if your team did not win, your name will be put in for a raffle for additional prizes. So not everybody will win, but some people will win from each grade level. So on every Monday's launch from here on out, we will be we'll have a chart so you can see exactly where you stand, and then try to encourage each other to keep going and try to do some more focus areas and projects and really finish this year strong. All right, your reflection for this week. How can you help your grade level team win the Focus on the Finish competition?